Welcome to the deep dive. Typically, you know how this goes. You send us sources, articles, research, maybe even some notes, and we dive in.
We sift through it all, yeah. Pull out the key stuff.
Exactly. Get you informed, maybe share a few surprising bits, keep it interesting. But today's definitely different.
hmm
So when this thing landed in our inbox, attached to like a totally anonymous email, honestly, my first thought was just delete. Seriously.
I can see why.
We run what used to be a pretty normal lifestyle blog.
Right.
And this document just looked, well, intimidating and incredibly German. The title, the whole vibe.
Oh, yeah. Very formal, very complex looking.
But for some reason, we just couldn't hit delete. It was, I don't know, strange. Like it was calling out, demanding to be looked at.
Like it had its own pull.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Like almost like we had to analyze it, even if we didn't quite want to. Bit sci-fi, maybe, like
Yep.
some artifact you just can't ignore. And the second we actually looked at that title, it was like, whoosh.
Yeah.
This weird gravity. We had to open it. And, well, the deeper we went, the more fascinating it got.
And what's really interesting there, I think, is not just the content, we'll get to that, but that specific gravitational pull you felt. It really makes you question what a document even is, doesn't it?
Totally.
It sort of compels you, the reader, the listener, to dive in, even with all its apparent absurdity. And this thing definitely makes a statement right from the title, which is quite a mouthful.
Tell me about it.
It's Inverbindlichkeitserklärung und ontologische Kontextualisierungserklärung für künstlerisch-narrative Manifestationen innerhalb des Dozer Crew, Nova Pack, Mike's Waffenfax, NWF und Nova Kollektiv Universums. Versionsnummer 7.42. Beta, incremental revidiert M12, April 2025, 23.559, system site Regulus 5.
Right. Just hearing it, it feels like you've stumbled into something way bigger and way more deliberately complicated than just some legal text.
Definitely sets a scene.
So for those of us not fluent in hyper-specific, multi-dimensional German legal sci-fi talk, that basically means disclaimer and ontological contextualization declaration for artistic narrative manifestations within the Doza Crew, Nova Pack, Mike's Waffenfax, and Nova Collective universe.
That's the gist of it, yeah.
So our mission today for you is to try and unpack this thing. It's utterly bizarre, but you can't deny it's captivating. What does it all mean? And why does it feel like it's trying to, suck us in?
Okay, let's start at the beginning. The preamble.
The preamble.
Okay, yeah. Even that first paragraph is a lot. It talks about the content having an all-encompassing, often recursive complexity.
Recursive complexity, yeah.
And a dynamic, self-generating network of interconnective narratives, thematic resonances, and perceptive interferences. I mean, who talks like that in a disclaimer?
Exactly. It's a huge signal right away. This isn't your standard terms and conditions.
Not even close. It's almost like the document is introducing itself as, I don't know, alive, not just words on a page. Well, if we connect that to the bigger picture, it really does set a tone of something evolving, almost sentient, right from the start.
Sentient, yeah.
And it clarifies the scope. This applies to Doza Crew, Nova Pack, Mike's Waffenfax, MWF, and Nova Collective. And it notes Nova Collective sometimes acts as a symbiotic or identical entity to Doza Crew.
Yeah.
And then it explicitly says it's a living document, that it can have revisions without prior notice in physical linear space-time.
Physical linear space-time.
Wow. So it's not static, it's designed to change, maybe even outside our usual understanding of time. That phrase isn't just quirky, it's foundational. It's telling you the rules here are different.
Yeah, that physical linear space-time bit.
Yeah.
It really grabs you. It's like the disclaimer itself is more than just rules. It's like a doorway.
A portal, almost.
Yeah. You're not just reading. You're kind of stepping into
Yeah.
something else. It feels less like a document and more like, I don't know, an invocation, pulling you deeper. What a way to start things off.
It certainly is.
Okay, so now this is where it gets really interesting, or maybe, yeah, a little unsettling. It moves into the ontological nature of the contents,
Right.
and they state, really forcefully, that their content is a decidedly artistic, fictional, and metaphorical construct. Why say it quite like that? So strongly.
That's a really good question. It almost feels defensive, doesn't it?
Yeah, like they expect people not to get it, or maybe they want people to think it's real.
Or perhaps they've had issues before. It suggests they're actively trying to ward off literal interpretations. What's fascinating is how they describe this conscious blur between fiction and reality.
Okay.
The document gives examples like narrative elements involving digital hell or kaleidoscopic dreams, mainframe revolution, even eternal wanderings, things like that.
Right.
And then comes this really strong claim. Any similarity with real existing, living, or formerly incarnated entities is purely coincidental.
Purely coincidental, right?
And it results solely from the uncontrolled convergence of creative archetypes in a self-organizing narrative density, which they apparently call rolling madness or unhinged.
Rolling madness. Okay. So basically, if it feels real, that's on you or maybe on the universe, not them.
Pretty much. It kind of turns your own perception into this potentially unreliable thing.
And it actually names characters. It mentions Mike, Rickard, Romanka, Kyrem, Schwatten, Graf Paste, and the Kloboterman.
The Kloboterman.
But it says that they aren't really characters in the normal sense. They're archetypical embodiments of human fears, hopes, and abysses manifesting in a digital data sea.
So less like people, more like symbols, manifestations of bigger ideas within this digital space.
Yeah, but they just bubble up from some collective pool of stuff. But why put that level of deep, almost philosophical lore in a legal doc?
That's the question, isn't it? It really makes you feel like you're not just reading, you're experiencing something.
You're being drawn in.
Which brings up a crucial point. What about the impact on you, the person engaging with this?
Right. What about that?
Well, there's a very specific clause about the recipient's responsibility. It explicitly says any physical, psychological, or emotional reactions.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Things like feeling caught in the loop of time, experiencing confusion and chaos in the head, hallucinatory states, seeing empty shells, or effects from poisoned clouds.
Whoa, okay. Poisoned clouds.
Yeah, all of that is solely the recipient's own responsibility.
So tough luck if you freak out, basically.
Essentially. They stress the content is not to be understood as instructions, but as a complex game with expectations and perceptions whose unpredictability is a constitutive element.
A complex game.
So the key takeaway here, they're actively messing with your perception of reality. It's not just a story, it's this interactive, unpredictable thing, and you're navigating it alone. They're telling you straight up, things might get weird,
Okay.
and that's on you.
Okay, well, given how much this thing seems to want to, entangle you in its world, maybe it's not surprising it goes overboard in the disclaimers.
You'd almost expect it at this point.
Let's dive into these warnings. Section 3. Disclaimer and implications of consumption. They really don't want to be sued, do they?
Seems like it. They're covering a lot of bases.
And the detail. First, the health stuff. They warn about impacts on psychological well-being like paranoia, anxiety, loss of reality.
Standard enough warnings, maybe, but then
Then the physical stuff.
Yeah.
Vomiting, twitching, triggered, they say, by distorted screams and whispers or texts causing anger or despair.
right, it sounds like something out of a horror film description, not a legal document.
Exactly. It's like the disclaimer itself is part of the horror.
And this is where it stops being just a disclaimer and starts actively building the fiction, using this formal language to pull you deeper. It's clever, if a bit unsettling.
And just keeps escalating. If freaking out wasn't enough, they warn about, get this, technological malfunctions and interdimensional anomalies.
Yes, the interdimensional stuff.
They're literally warning about your phone glitching, the data network acting up, or actual space-time anomalies appearing around you.
In your immediate environment, no less.
And they link it to specific things, like playing techno in 1982, or listening to tracks like Hyper Universal.
That techno in 1982 detail is brilliant, isn't it? It just throws chronology out the window. It's not just a tech warning. It feels like a clue.
It really does, like another breadcrumb trail into their weird world.
And each bizarre detail just makes the whole thing feel more tangible somehow. It pushes you to suspend your disbelief. They also warn against copying any weapon technology experiments from the stories.
Oh yeah, like what?
Things like rocket backpack tests in the studio using goulash cannons.
Goulash cannons. Seriously.
Goulash cannons. Also ninja grenades or anything based on Schwatten's questionable inventions.
Okay, a goulash cannon. The creativity is something else. It's not just random weirdness. It feels like world building, even here.
Exactly. Even the disclaimers build the universe.
And it doesn't stop. There's a substance-induced perceptual shifts disclaimer.
Of course there is.
It says any depictions of massive alcohol consumption. And it lists really specific alarming things like doppelkorn turpentine and jet fuel.
Jet fuel.
Jet fuel. Or dubious potions like some flower drink causing delusions or coma. It's all fictional. And they strongly warn you not to try it.
Well, that's probably good advice, turpentine.
Yeah, I think I'll pass on the jet fuel cocktail, thanks. But again, they stress the content is unfiltered and consciously blurs the line between fact and fiction. It's like they're daring you.
Daring you to believe or daring you to engage. And to blur those lines even further, they bring in interdimensional travel and warnings.
Okay, here we go.
Concepts like Regulus 5 being a trap or an illusion, or the warning not to open Pandora's box, these are all framed as purely narrative elements.
Just stories.
Just stories, but ones that emphasize this deep and possibly essential connection between different universes. It even mentions an Virgo Vision Unit Regulus and their reports.
A fictional science team.
Seems like it. And other fictional groups like the Solar Soldatenstaffel, SSS, and Greinman Friedenswerk, who apparently do things like hinder research or deliver psycho-emitters.
Psycho-emitters, right.
It's this constant weaving of incredibly detailed story bits into what looks like a legal text. It's really quite something. Makes you wonder if the warnings are for you or just more story.
More layers to peel back. So, okay, warnings about your health, your tech, interdimensional weirdness.
Yeah.
But then they also tell you not to try and talk to them.
Right. Section 4, limitation of connectivity and interaction.
It says getting involved with communication channels, especially comment sections, or trying to contact specific user-like entities.
And it names them.
Yeah. Like at Matthias Bohm 3746, at Patrick Heidecker X4I, at Roman Nipping 8809. Doing any of that is at your own risk.
It's like they're putting up a fence, but the fence is made of pure intrigue.
It totally makes you want to look up those usernames, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's a classic meta-narrative move. The disclaimer itself becomes part of the game, hinting you might already be interacting with the fiction just by reading about it.
Wow.
It emphasizes that interaction can be very specific and might tap into deeper communication channels outside normal social stuff.
Deeper channels. Okay.
And it even mentions strange sightings or experiences in the Octon Triangle, which apparently pop up in comments. But these should be seen as just components of the artistic narrative and not as an invitation to conduct one's own field research.
Don't go looking for the Octon Triangle. It's just a story.
Exactly. It's this constant loop. Blur the lines, then disclaim, then blur them again. It keeps you questioning, keeps you engaged, pulls you deeper.
And then there's this super specific bit about a secret Mayday message from the Nova crew, which you're supposed to understand as narrative deception.
More layers of potential meaning.
Plus, mentions of time shifts making chronology tricky. And get this, a historical figure, Mike Friedleben zu Pickelhausen, linked to Schwarten from the 15th century.
15th century?
Yeah, but used solely, it says, to condense the fictional mythology. They're building centuries of backstory just for the disclaimer.
The dedication to the bit is impressive.
Truly staggering.
And if, after all that, you still want to try and contact them, there's the Inquiries and Exclusive Communication Channel section.
Oh, boy.
It points you to a Department for Public Relations and Interdimensional Coordination, but warns that response times are indefinite because of, quote, temporal cosmic fluctuations and the complexity of underlying realities.
Of course. Temporal cosmic fluctuations. Busy time of year, I guess.
Apparently. And there's a phone number, but whether it works depends on the current cosmic conjunction and the charge level of the Claboderman causal quantum cores.
The charge level of the Claboderman causal quantum cores.
Right. That detail just perfectly sums it up, doesn't it? It highlights the artistic performative nature of the whole thing. It's not meant to be real. It's meant to feel real within its own rules. Yeah. A final, playful wink.
Okay. So we finally get to the end. The causal determinism clause and final appeal. After all this build up, all the warnings, the lore, what's the final message for you, the listener?
Well, essentially it says the narratives are not causally deterministic predictions. They're not telling your future or defining facts about your personal reality.
So it's not a prophecy.
Ew. To synthesize the core message, they state it's all performance art. Art that pushes the boundaries of consciousness, manifesting as frozen fracks in the data network, but without claiming any final absolute truth.
Frozen fracks. Okay. And consumption is still at your own risk.
Still at your own risk, which raises that big question again. How do you even deal with information that deliberately plays with reality like this, even in a formal doc?
Right.
It's not an accident. It's the whole point. It's meant to make you actively question how you perceive things as you consume them. A real exercise in, how we know what we know.
Epistemology, yeah. That frozen fracks idea is kind of perfect for how information feels online sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fragmented but sticky. And they end with some really strong final warnings for you, the listener. You're urgently called upon to always maintain the permanent challenge of your own media literacy,
Keep questioning.
and to be aware that everything can be an illusion. They call the document itself an epistemological exercise about the fluidity of reality and the fluid boundaries between being and non-being.
It's not just something to read, it's designed to make you question reality itself.
And then the actual final lines. May your journey through the levels of perception always be accompanied by an adequate measure of skepticism and well-calibrated interdimensional protective eyewear.
Love that line. Protective eyewear.
This is the end of this disclaimer, or the beginning of a deeper entanglement. The decision is yours. Wow.
What a finish.
So from, what started as a lifestyle blog
Yeah.
to this, what an absolutely wild, bewildering deep dive.
It really was something else.
That document we nearly deleted. It became so incredibly compelling. It really did feel like it had a mind of its own, just pulling us in deeper and deeper, making us analyze it. It's been unique.
And what's fascinating, I think, is how this document, even with all its completely outlandish claims, kind of works as this powerful, if extreme, metaphor for just information overload today.
How so?
Well, it forces you, doesn't it? Forces you to question what's authentic, what you're consuming, forces you to actually engage your critical thinking.
You can't just passively absorb this thing.
Exactly. It's an extreme example, obviously, but it really highlights that need for, well-calibrated interdimensional protective eyewear for all the stuff you encounter online.
You need to filter, question, decide what shapes your reality.
Precisely. You can't just consume passively anymore.
So, a final thought for you then. After encountering something as strange as the Doza Crew disclaimer, how does it change the way you look at the terms and conditions of the digital world, or even just the reality of the content you consume every day? Are you prepared for deeper entanglement?
Something to think about.
Thank you for joining us on this very, very unusual deep dive. Until next time.